Hi friends! Welcome to my channel, Aaliyah Uncharted. My name is Aaliyah, and today I'm going over the books that I'm wanting to read in April. To be honest, for April, I don't really have as much of a plan as I often do. I'm not really working on or not planning on doing any kind of readathon or anything for April, which is normally how I like to structure my TBRs for each month. So we're kind of taking a different path this month. I know I've talked about the Buzzword Reading Challenge on my channel before. This was originally a readathon created by Kayla at Books and Lala, but now it's been kind of changed into a year-long reading challenge where each month there is an assigned buzzword or theme, and you need to read a book with that word or theme in the title. And so far this year, I have been successful reading at least one book with that buzzword or theme in the title. And I noticed when I was planning my reading for April, or like coming up with ideas for what to do for the Buzzword Reading Challenge for April, that I actually have a whole lot of books that fit the theme this month. The theme for April is books that have space words in the title. So stars, sun, moon, galaxy, world, etc. And I just have a whole bunch of these books that I've actually been really looking forward to and wanting to read anyway. And so since I didn't have anything else really planned for April, I figured I'll just read a bunch of these. So that is what we are doing this month. We're going to just be reading a bunch of the books that I have on my TBR that happen to have space words in the title because it's fun. So that is the plan. I've got a couple other things I need to read that don't quite fit into this, but for the most part, I'm just choosing out of my big pile of not space books, but books with space words. Anyway, let's just get into what's at the top of my list, and I'll tell you all about them. So the first book on my list is actually a rollover from March, and that is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I was planning on buddy reading this with my friend Abby, and she has been so gracious as to not bug me about the fact that I haven't started it yet. This was something I was meaning to read in March and didn't quite get to, so this is top of my list for April. This is a historical fiction taking place in 1945 in Barcelona. We are post-World War II. The country and the world is recovering, and we're following this kid named Daniel. He is grieving the loss of his mother and coping by getting really obsessed with this book called The Shadow of the Wind. He's just really into it and really wants to read all of this author's work because he loves it. And when he's kind of trying to find the rest of this author's books, he figures out that somebody is systematically destroying every copy of everything this author has ever written ever. And Daniel may very well have the last copies of this author's work in existence. So this is following Daniel as he's trying to figure out who is destroying all of these books, why they're doing it, and what he can do to stop it. And that's all I know. This is kind of a booktube classic. Everybody and their mother has read this, and I am, as always, behind the trend. So I think it is definitely about time that I finally get to this, especially since I get to read it with my lovely friend. So this is, again, at the very top of my list for April. If nothing else, I will be reading this. So I guess stay tuned. The next book on my TBR was my official Buzzword Reading Challenge pick, although again, several on this list are going to fit for that if this doesn't work out. But I really hope it does because I've been dying to read it for a while. And that is The Weight of the Stars by Kay Ankrum. I've heard so many wonderful things about this, and I cannot wait. Ooh, can you hear that thunder? I apologize in advance if it starts thundering and raining really bad, but it's spring in Colorado, so it happens. Anyway, so this is a young adult contemporary, I think it's somewhat contemporary, with a female-female romance between two Black girls and a hint of sci-fi. And so this is following two girls. We have Ryan and Alexandria. Ryan has dreamed of being able to travel in space to see the stars and to just see what's out there, but it's not really an option for her. She is a girl from the trailer park living on the wrong side of the neighborhood, and doesn't really seem to be in the cards for her. Alexandria is a girl whose mom volunteered as an astronaut to go on a one-way trip to the end of the solar system. And she has been waiting for any kind of message from her mom ever since. So Ryan has been trying to befriend Alexandria with no success, but an accident that ends up with Alexandria breaking her arm somehow brings them together despite themselves. So this is a story about Ryan and Alexandria getting to know each other, becoming friends, and becoming a little bit something more, while sharing this connection about space, even though they come from very different, I guess, attitudes, different thoughts, different opinions about the whole thing. So I don't know. I just know it's supposed to be incredible. Everybody talks about how beautiful it is. And I know that Kay Ancrum is known for having messy characters and for having characters that you can really relate to, but they are definitely not perfect by any means. And so I'm just really excited to really dig into this and to meet Ryan and Alexandria and to just read their story. So I can't wait. There's a reason I picked this for my pick, because it's been on the top of my TBR for a while anyway, so cannot wait. Next on my list is my nonfiction for the month, and I chose Biased by Dr. Jennifer Eberhardt, one of those. The subtitle, I have to read it off, is Uncovering the Hidden Prejudice That Shapes What We See, Think, and Do. So I first heard about this from Kayla at Books and Lala. She recently read it and has raved about it, and so I've been really wanting to look into it myself. This is a book about implicit racial bias and about how racial bias doesn't just exist within police departments or the justice system, but in every institution and in every aspect of society, there's going to be implicit racial bias. That's why it's implicit. It's just something that a lot of people have grown up fostering in their brains without even realizing it. So I think this is supposed to really touch on where implicit bias shows up, and then also how and why people with the best of intentions who don't believe that they're biased at all and who are genuinely trying to treat people equally can still fall into pitfalls of implicit bias, and how this bias can affect our perception of people, our memory of things, and a bunch of things like that. This is something that I've been trying to be more aware of and to learn more about. And so I'm really glad that this book was brought to my attention, because I really want to kind of dive into this and just learn more about it coming from a place of privilege. So yes, I'm really excited to dig into this, and we're going to see how it goes. But I think it's going to be really informative and really good. Next on my list is The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. This is an adult historical female-female romance between Catherine and Lucy. Catherine is a countess. She is a widow and also an astronomer, and she's working to try to fulfill and finish her late husband's legacy and his work in astronomy. In order to do so, she needs to translate this really groundbreaking text. It's really complicated and supposed to, be able to help what they're trying to finish, but it's in French, and she does not speak French. And so she puts out an ad asking for a French translator. And so enters Lucy. And Lucy is really just trying to get away. She just had to attend her ex-lover's sham of a wedding, and she just wants to get out of there and get some space. And so when she sees the ad for the translator job, she jumps on it, just goes to Catherine's house and begs for the job, and Catherine relents. So this is a story about Catherine and Lucy working together, doing all of this, smart science work, but also getting to know each other really well and slowly falling in love. And I am very excited about it. This is very frequently at the top of people's lists for female-female romance, and I have been really interested to get into this. I'm only just dipping my toes into adult romance, but again, this has been something that's really caught my eye, just seeing so many people talk about it. And so I'm really interested to see how this goes, and it should just be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Next, I have A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in the Wayfarer series. The first book was The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which I read last year and absolutely loved. It was probably like on my favorites list. And so I'm very, very excited to get to this sequel. This book, it's a series, but they're kind of standalones, so you don't need to read them in order or anything. But anyway, this book is following Lovelace, and Lovelace is an AI, an artificial intelligence, who wakes up in a new body with no memory of her existence beforehand. She's like a blank slate, not knowing what to do with this very humanoid body she now has. And so she is really just trying to navigate how to be, how to live. What does a person with a body do? She's confused. And so she ends up getting the help of an excitable engineer named Pepper. And Pepper is determined to help Lovelace learn how to, be a person and how to just move in the world and create and build relationships and create a life for herself. So this is a very character-driven story that's going to be centering around Lovey and Pepper, and just about them learning how to kind of create a home with each other. This is, I'm sure, going to go along the same vein as the first book, in that it's going to be a very slow, atmospheric, character-driven story that's not very plot-heavy at all, which really worked for me for the first book. And so I'm really excited to get to this second one and read this, because I could really use a nice, soft, atmospheric sci-fi right now. Like, that just sounds really lovely. So I'm really excited to get to this and just see what it has in store for Lovey, because I really love her. And last but certainly not least, we have On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is a graphic novel, a science fiction graphic novel following Mia. And Mia decides to join this crew that goes out in space and fixes things. They go out and rebuild and restore different structures to make them beautiful and functional again. But that is only one of two timelines. We are also following memories of Mia going to boarding school and falling in love with a classmate. And you find out pretty early on, but the reason that Mia decided to join this crew in the first place is because she is searching for this long-lost love. And so we're following both of these timelines, learning about her relationship with this girl, and then also following her as she tries to find her again. And I'm really, really excited about it. So I have yet another female-female romance set in space, and I can't, could there be anything better, truly? But honestly, I've been having a bit of a struggle reading physically lately. It's just, audio just seems a lot easier to consume these days, but it's been a hot minute since I've read a graphic novel, and I love graphic novels, so I think this will actually really help, even though it is a chunker. I don't think I've ever read a graphic novel this long, but I still think it'll really help. And the art looks beautiful, and I cannot wait, because this has been talked about heavily, and I've had my eye on it for a long time. So I figure it is about time I finally get around to it. Okay, well, the rain has officially started, so I had better wrap this up. Those are the books that are on my main TBR. Again, I have a longer list of even more books that have space words in the title, but I figure for now, like, these are the ones I'm like really, really wanting to get to. So we'll just leave it at this for now. Also, can we talk about how many female-female romances have space words in the title? Like, is there something with sapphics and loving space? Like, is this part of lesbian culture? I don't know, but I really want to, because I think it's wonderful. So anyway, I'm excited to read a bunch of books with space stuff in it. Most of them are sci-fi, and also a lot of ladies loving ladies. So I really can't complain about anything going on here. But anyway, that is my list. That is everything I have for you today. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you've thought of them down into the comments. I would love to know what you think. That is it though. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!